Welcome back, everyone, to the Dossier Project. And if you haven't yet, please do subscribe to our channel. We're going to be posting videos every week. And this week, we wanted to talk about a subject that's very dear to us. And I think that for many of us has been something that we've been thinking about a lot lately. I know I have, at least, which is friendship. Part of the reason I think for DOS and how we got into it had a lot to do with friendship and our relationships. And so we wanted to today just take some time to explore that, what that is, what it means, what it is to us. What's a friendship to you? Who wants to start?
I want to start with that comedian Jack Black. He has this band. I forget what it was called. It wasn't with his brother, but it was like a friend. And they had this song. I learned about it in high school. It's called Friendship. And the beginning of the song says, "Friendship is rare." Do you know what I'm saying? And like something like, yeah. And I think of that song a lot. It just like pops into my head. And, I think one of the biggest tragedies in some ways of, what we've been through with the fallout of DOS and Nexium and all the companies is the loss of friendships. I've been saying, I feel like I've been burying friendships for the last 5 years. And I think it's you start, walking on this earth long enough, you're going to have friends with people and not be friends with people all throughout your life, and I know that when I was younger, like, everyone, this is my best friend, like when I started going to school, or I go to the park, I was like, "Mommy, this is my best friend," and so it's like, you kind of develop a sense of what it means to be a friend over time. And I know that in high school, when I first started having separations with friends, or grew up with friends and we go to different schools. What does it mean to still be friends? Are we still friends if we don't talk? Are we only friends if we see each other? And now in this like digital space, and things like that, it's like you can keep up on people's social media, but not actually talk to them, but still like see what's going on in their life. So it's like, are we still friends? And for me, it's an evolving definition, but at its base, I have now and I have not been a good friend at many times in my life, and I think I've learned that for me, I just know that at this point in my life, sorry, I'm at a baseball game, friendship is sacred to me. It's, it's the foundation of every relationship I have now in my life at a base level, whether you're a business partner of mine or my brother or my sister or my parents or my my friends' friends. It's like I consider you guys my friends, but also my sisters, but we're friends first at the basis of that. Like it's like, if I don't have a friendship with someone I'm invested in some way in relating with them, it doesn't really have roots. So that's kind of just my relationship, and I'll shut up now.
And just to say, I was trying to clarify, okay, like, what's the difference for me between friendship versus other types of relationships? And like, one thing for me, a friendship requires a certain amount of giving and receiving. So, and it not formalized. So when I think of like a boss or a mentor, not to say that there's not friendliness or it's not friendly, but it's not a friendship because there's an agreed upon exchange happening in that. And it feels different than just somebody that I choose to spend time with, I choose to catch up with, I choose to whatever. But also I was thinking about somebody who, was very close, like work-wise. I worked in close proximity to them. And the friendship never blossomed fully, I would say. We were very good colleagues, but not super good friends, not even in a bad way, not like we didn't like each other, just we never really became friends. And I think the difference is I don't feel like I was ever able to give something to this person of like a favor, not really do a lot of favors or receive favors back. It just didn't feel like two ways. Where for me, friendship has a generosity to it that is like from the heart of like, I'm doing you a favor, or I feel like I can ask a favor from you, or like hey, can I borrow a cup of sugar kind of thing, that neighborliness. So anyways, that's just one thing that came to mind of like, how do I distinguish a friendship from other types of relationships?
For me, like the friendship, I've been thinking about it because again, I also have like loads of friends all over the world that I've known my whole life, and and I feel great with. But the people that I consider friends, or where there's a friendship, there's two things I realized. One, there's a certain I I feel like there's a certain vulnerability that I can have with them, or that I can share with them. I can show them my mucky sides. I can, like, there's a certain trust, and trust is a huge part for me in friendship. There's a certain feeling of, they will accept me or see me for who I am, and I don't have to, pretend around them or play my games or be prideful or all those kind of things. There's a certain safety that I feel with this person of being myself, and not feeling so that basically the trust is huge for me. And the other thing I've been seeing with friendship, because there's people that I see as friends, but I see what's missing is the nourishing of it. It's kind of like a plant. If you don't water it, it's going to die. If you don't, give it nutrients, if you don't give it sunshine, it's going to die. And I'm seeing, there's it is a two-way street. If I don't put in my time and my effort and my, thoughts into that relationship, the friendship dies, and it becomes more of a superficial kind of like, how are you? Great. How's the weather? Great. Love you. Bye. So those are, I think, for me, very important aspects, is the vulnerability in it, the trust, and the, the effort that goes into it as well.
That's how emotional this was for me. I started talking and I just started welling up. But listening to you guys speak, I think one of the major things that's important is, and we've talked about this in some of the dossier articles and things, but upholding the person, or connecting with the person more than their actions. I think there's a lot of friends at this point that we've had that we've maybe loved dearly, but don't necessarily agree with the actions they've taken. And I think for me, at least, in how I want to hold friendship in myself, is to always honor and love that person first, above and beyond any of those things. And I think that's what creates a safety in friendships. I think that's what creates the ability to be friends, even, like to go through thick and thin, to mess up, to do stupid shit, to have each other's back and go like, dude, what were you thinking? Like, what was going on? But if you have that ability, if they know, is, the kind of catchphrase I hear lately, like, I'm for you, I'm for you, not for anything else, but like, above anything else, I'm for you. And that gives space to be able to be honest, to call each other on each other's shit, to be there no matter what, like to have a real relationship. And I think that includes the vulnerability and those things too. And yeah, I think anything else has torn my relationships apart if I tried to base it on us acting a certain way or being a certain way. I think we're all in different places in our journey, and I didn't always make space for that. And that's where I feel the pain in my relationships if that wasn't there. So
you guys are talking, I'm I was thinking about my own journey and how different it has been. And it's interesting because there are some friends, and I'm sure you guys can relate, like there are friends that you don't necessarily call every day, every month even, right? Like there are people in your life that, I don't know, maybe they have earned that spot through, just mutual effort. And at some point in your life, you could kind of like divert, but you still have they still have a very special place in your heart. And it is very emotional for me too, Danielle. And I just think of those friends and I'm like, I think I have them in my heart, no matter what, and if I don't call them or they don't call me, maybe we call each other on birthdays, but I know that if they need me, I'm going to be there. And they know that, or the other way around. I know if I need them, they will come. And if they need me, I will be there. So there's like a certain consistency and trust that doesn't necessarily have to do with calling every day, or it's there's like it's almost like a net that holds us together, that binds us together. And me moving also from country and just living in different places, I have those friends because that most of my childhood friends especially, they don't live nearby. They all have their own thing going on. But it is really beautiful to have that sense of loyalty. I think it is, like friendship has a lot to do with loyalty, and they have my loyalty. Like if they need me, or if we need each other here, right? Like there's a sense that we are going to be there for each other, even though we might not agree on specific things. But yeah, it's I think it's a beautiful feeling. I don't even know if it's a feeling per se, more than a relationship, right? Like there's something so neat about being able to have friends, and it is rare. I don't know who said it at the beginning, but the more you guys are talking about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, we are so fortunate, and there's definitely a lot of gratitude for those who have friendship in our lives. I think it's beautiful.
There's a bunch of things that I would think of it. I almost think it's like what it isn't, I think is, it's not like a transactional relationship. It's not just in exchange for this. It's not a convenient thing just because they're around, or location. How many people that you've worked with or gone to school with, but then as soon as you're not in that environment anymore, where it takes more effort to get together and so forth, and it's kind of like, out of sight, out of mind. It was like, were they really friends or not? It's just like, am I genuinely just, there's nothing, no ulterior motive, because to talk with them, I just want to genuinely see how they are and just connect. And is that, I think, to me, like one of the things that I think about is it also, has it been tested? Because true friendship, I think, like true love, is not convenient. It's not transactional. And it's really about standing the test of time. And some of them, you have been through so much that no matter what, it doesn't matter the time. It's not a rule of time or how many phone calls or all these things. It's just like sometimes you just know, and we recently got together with some friends, and it was just one of those experiences where I think it's a feeling of, are these people and friendships and relationships that nourish my life, feel like they fill my cup, as opposed to I need to put my guard up, or I have to watch what I say, or I have to dance around, certain things, or don't want to, and it's like, I don't know, ultimately it sounds like I'm that's really like small, trusted circle of people that I can just be openly honest and vulnerable and share things, like nothing given, nothing gained. Like if it's just really very superficial, it doesn't, that's more of acquaintance or a coworker or something. But yeah, so.
We're doing a series on this, because I was just thinking, like when you were talking, Angie, about like childhood friendships, that's a whole, like, I got married yesterday. We kind of eloped. We had some people there. We tried to get as many people there. And my friend, who I've known since I was 5 years old, we grew up together. We went to school from 5 to 14 years old, went to separate high schools, and have remained friends since. And I haven't talked to her. She just had her second baby in the fall. We just caught up 3 weeks ago for the first time in over a year. And we spoke for 2 hours, because I don't question. And when I texted her 5 hours before, I was like, hey, I'm getting married in Central Park today. Can you be there? I sent it to her mom too, because her mom is like a mom to me, and her mom was there. And when she hugged me, she said, I was like, I I know, I was just like, I could cry just, it means it's that's a different level. Because also it's like so rare when there are people who've known you that you can't make new childhood friends. You only have the ones that were there. You can make really meaningful friendships when you're an adult, but like the people that have seen, like developed with you, that's special. So I hope we do that as a subject, but I just wanted to say that this is a beautiful call.
As you were saying that, I was just thinking, with friendship, like for me, there's a certain mindset in it, and that like you hold a space for that other person, and you kind of take them into your space, and there's a certain commitment. Because you were talking about marriage, like I think friendship in a way, it is a certain marriage that you have with another human being. That's not a romantic thing or anything like that, but it has a certain like
but it's
commitment.
A commitment. Yeah. Like, like otherwise, what is it?
Right. So
yeah, I'm hesitant. Oh, I'm sorry, Saja, please.
No, that's okay. Go ahead. That was just my thought on the.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, it's sometimes I have to pause. Like, if I've met someone and I really like them, it's like kind of my knee-jerk reaction to be like, oh, my friend. It's like, oh, this guy I met last week. Like I kind of want to explain the relationship first, because like I really I hold that title for certain people only. Friendship has to be earned, like you were saying, Leah. It's an exchange, but not transactional. And it takes a while to develop that trust.
I also loved, Leah, you said this on different conversation, but you talked about how there are more convenient relationships where like kind of more superficial or convenient values are shared. We like the same sports or the same styles or the same music, and it's easy and it flows on a superficial level, but doesn't necessarily mean that the deeper values are matched. Like when push comes to shove, are those people really going to show up, or are they really committed to love? Are they really committed to even unity? Like what happens when we disagree on something? Are they going to stay around when there's a disagreement? And I've had relationships that are like that. They're feel good, they're like, they tell you, they're there to build you up and tell you like, you look great, you're this, you're that, you're so, like all of the good affirming kind of things, and be there. And it's awesome to have friends who support you, don't get me wrong. But then what about when it's time to be like, dude, like, really, is this how you want to be? And then there's the uncomfortable part of that friendship, which I appreciate greatly. Then there's people that I just, and I think this, Mish, you've definitely said this about DOS for yourself too. There's certain women that I just wouldn't have ever chosen to be friends with or associate myself with. And that was kind of the cool thing about DOS, is that you put yourself in these situations where you don't have, or you don't necessarily have things in common or wouldn't associate with, but you recognize your process. Like you can build love or friendship or commitment with any human being, and maybe it's not as easy, but I don't know, you build a certain sense of self-esteem of like, I know I can build friendships with people. Like I know I can build meaningful things with people, especially
who are willing.
Yes, especially the ones who want that too. Exactly. So, so hopefully we'll expand up more on that topic too, because I think that's really important. Juicy.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, everyone. Yeah, this is a rich topic, and I think it moves us all very deeply. And if you're watching this and you want to share maybe what friendship is to you, how you do it in your life, we're going to be talking more about it and getting more specific. So we look forward to getting deeper into this topic. Thank you all for being here. And again, if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to our channel. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram, and we look forward to sharing more of our thoughts. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.